Katie.
Hi, I'm Camilla.
And welcome to You're Gonna Be Fine, the self-development podcast with a chatty twist.
Please know that we are not professionals, just regular girls sharing from our own journeys to hopefully educate, motivate and inspire you on yours.
So if you're dealing with something serious, please speak to a professional because at the end of the day, they are the experts, not us.
If you are enjoying the podcast, please rate, review, subscribe and share with someone who you think would enjoy it.
It helps us more than you know to reach more gorgeous people just like you.
With that being said, enjoy the episode and remember, whatever it is,
you're gonna be fine. Hi guys, welcome back to your favourite podcast, You're Gonna Be Fine. Today's episode is called Why People Pleasing is Ruining Your Life. And I don't know about you, but I do feel at the moment people pleasing is such a hot topic. Like with life coaching clients, with my friends, even family members, I feel like it's just everywhere at the moment. And I think this is going to be an interesting episode for us to discuss because I have had tendencies of people pleasing and Camilla simply does not.
Yeah, I think definitely when I was younger, to be fair, which is why it's a good contrast.
Yeah.
But yeah, I have to work hard to please people. No, I'm joking.
But before we get into it, what is your oh fuck of the week?
So my oh fuck of the week is, you actually did witness this one as well, not on the day it happened, but you were there for the last part of it. Anyway, so I woke up on my 30th birthday with approximately 30 cold sores.
Oh my God.
Which was so unfair.
Yeah, so unfair. As the cold sore queens, I feel your pain.
It's just so annoying because I've had a countdown clock to my birthday.
Yeah.
I've been so excited. I've been doing the work. I've been having the tablets, the L-lysine, I've been putting on the Zavirax even though I don't have a cold sore. I've been drying out the lips. Anyway, my sports day came around. It was 32 degrees, burnt my lips and woke up.
It's extreme weather, isn't it? You got them doing Kilimanjaro because of the strong winds, strong sun.
Yeah.
It's difficult being a cold sore queen.
It's so tough. And I feel like I've never met anyone. You don't get them as much as me.
You do get them a lot.
I get them the most out of anyone ever.
Yeah.
So I was really, really mad and sad about that because it was my birthday and then I was going to Newcastle with the girls. And when you've got a cold sore, and in fact, there was not just one, there was minimum 4 at one point, it just knocks your confidence so much. And no matter how much lip liner you put on, no matter how much you cake it on, you feel like shit.
Well, it makes it worse as well because you're just spreading the infection around your mouth with a MAC lip liner.
Exactly.
And you're like, oh God. Luckily, you've got a boyfriend who was at home, so there wasn't any snogging going on.
Yeah,
and
exactly. There was literally
so
nobody to witness. It was dead. So no one was even able to look at the cold sores other than my friends.
You still look gorgeous.
Thank you. Who I feel comfortable around. But if I'd have been, say, in an event where I didn't know people, I would have felt really uncomfortable to the point where I wouldn't have wanted to speak up.
Well, I woke up with one after we went to Newcastle. I woke up with one on Monday. But it's when you're a bit run down and you just feel a bit blech, that they kind of come out in full force, don't they?
Wasn't a good...
So my oh fuck of the week was so stressful. Basically, I was sat... Remember when I sent you that picture of the Call Her Daddy podcast?
Yes.
Show, whatever documentary that she did. I was I was about to make my dinner, documentary all set up. James was out with work. So I thought, right, I'll have a little night into myself. He rings me and he says, oh, could you just run to the bottom of the drive and just check that my ADHD meds have been delivered because I'm about to run out and obviously he needs them.
Yeah.
So I was like, yeah, sure, that's fine. So I obviously had my basically my pajamas on, loungewear, no bra, chucked my phone on the sofa, headed out the front door, no key. I just thought, I'm only running to the bottom of the drive. So I'll just leave the door wide open and run to the bottom of the drive. Halfway down the drive, I hear this almighty douche. And I was like, oh my God, I look back and the kitchen door, the back door, the front door, fucking hell, had shut.
Which door?
Any door, all doors. I was completely locked out. But instead of panicking, I actually just burst out laughing.
Great.
I was literally on the drive.
Excellent. Just pissing yourself.
I was pissing myself.
Wow. Everyone's thinking, who is this unhinged woman at number 3?
Exactly.
It's not number 3.
It is number 3.
Oh, it is? Shit. Yes.
So anyways, then I was like, oh my God, what to do? Get to the bottom of the drive. Thought, may as well check it's there. It's not there. So it's not even worth it. I run up to the front door and thinking, right, what can I do? What can I do?
Please tell me you've got your phone.
No phone. No phone. No key. No shoes. No bra. That's the situation we're in. So I was like, oh my God. So I'm waving at the neighbours. They're all eating their dinner. It's like French doors. They're all eating their dinner, this family. And I'm like, hello. And they can't see me. So I'm jumping up, holding my boobs, obviously, because I've got no bra on. So I'm jumping up
Two
and
black
down.
eyes for you then.
Exactly. And then I went to the next house. And then the next house. I did 4 houses.
You're doing trick-or-treating.
Literally.
Wow, in
until
July.
I finally got to the last house. And I was like, please,
oh my God, notice me.
I let myself in the gate. I went into their garden. I was trespassing in order to get a solution to this problem. This poor lady. She's actually my friend Ash, but yeah, poor lady at that time. She was like working away, and I was like, hey. She went,
yeah, well, I wouldn't be surprised.
I'm so sorry. Holding my boobs. I was like, I'm so sorry. And I told her the story. She was like, where are your shoes? Where's your phone? Where's your key? I was like,
where's your bra?
Honestly,
More
where's
importantly.
your bra? Yeah, where's your marbles? Because I've lost them as well. And then she gave me her phone. So only number I know off by heart is my mum's. I don't know James's. So I rang my mum. I was like,
actually, I didn't know Sam's. Yeah,
Mum, I'm locked out. She was like, oh, well, we're actually coincidentally just at the pub having dinner, just like literally down the lane.
Great.
So I was like, oh, great. Could you come and get me? So I got a free dinner out of it, which was a touch. So I met her and my dad at a pub down the road, had my dinner, and I was like, no worries. James is in Knutsford, so I know what restaurant he's at, so you just drop me off there and he can give you a lift home. So Ash, bless her, gives me her slippers, because I thought, well, I'm only going into Knutsford, so that's fine. So had dinner with my dad, get dropped off into Knutsford, walk to the restaurant in which he told me he was at. There's signs all over it. We are now shut for business, closed. I was like, still no phone, so can't ring James. Mum's driven off. I'm in Knutsford, no bra, no phone, no key, pair of slippers.
That's so funny.
So I thought, well, I'm just going to have to go into every restaurant on Bottom Street. So I went in, hi, is there a reservation for James Calderbank? No, sorry, next restaurant. Hi, Piccolino's, Gusto. I went into every one until I got to the curry house. And I went, hi. And before I said, I spotted James. And I was like, you.
Did he do it on purpose?
No.
Did he say it on purpose?
He was like, I didn't realise. He was like, I thought we were going there, but when we got there, obviously it was shut.
And then he couldn't.
So he couldn't contact me because I didn't have a phone. And maybe he rang my mum, I don't know, but my mum had driven off. So I couldn't ring my mum. I honestly had no means to get hold. So I literally sat down, and obviously he had no idea that I was arriving because I hadn't spoke to him yet.
Yeah.
So he was like, wait, is that? And he was like, Katie, what are you doing here? So I was like, you will not believe the last hour
I believe it.
It was so stressful.
Funny.
And then the worst thing of all,
Go on.
cherry on top of the cake. James, I tell this massive story, all the twists, the turns, the drama, the pits, the falls. And he goes, you know, there's a spare key in the barbecue.
No.
I went, babe.
That's so.
You know when there's a moment that you just keep your mouth shut?
Yeah, that's the
it.
moment.
So could
you just laugh at the story and you're like, ha, ha, ha.
Yeah,
you know, the deadpan as well. You know there's a spare key in the barbecue. Well, no, I didn't know that.
Obviously.
Clearly, you buffoon. Wow.
Exactly. I was
oh my
like,
God.
oh
Boys
my God.
again, so reductive though, aren't they?
But again, James, what a great oh fuck of the week.
Yeah.
That's
Did he
exactly
say
what
that?
he said. Yeah.
Good.
And actually Gemma, who works for him, she said the same thing. In fact, I think she said it first. She's a fan for us.
Oh, I love that.
And she loves the pod. So hey Gemma.
Hi
we love
Gemma.
you.
We do love you.
That
is a really good one. That was very, very good. And very on brand. Very, very on brand.
Very on brand.
Can't wait for there to be a Mrs. and Mrs. where who's more likely to lock themselves out of the house with no bra, no phone and no key. So yeah, I feel like there's absolutely no segue into the episode there.
We've not mentioned the segue for a while,
no, we
actually.
haven't.
I think, let's just get into it.
Let's get into it.
So
yeah.
I think it's probably, you are a rarity, I have to say, because I do feel like people pleasing is really, really common. And I did actually bring my book, Are You Mad at Me? I am talking about this book. Honestly, I should be on commish. Look at those, those sticky notes that I've got dog-eared on there. But I actually got sent this. How cool.
Influencer.
Yeah, how cute. Because I thought, to be being sent self-development books, like, you know you've made it.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean?
I love that.
So yeah, it's by Meg Josephson called Are You Mad at Me? She is an American psychotherapist and content creator. And essentially the book is about the 4th trauma response. So you've heard of fight, flight, freeze response. Well, she argues that there's a 4th one called fawning, which is basically your desire to be liked or people please in order to survive. And it explains that it all comes from childhood.
Yeah.
So there's an amazing quote in the book that says, most people pleasers were parent pleasers first, which I really love that. And she sort of explains all the different types of households that you may have grown up in and what your trauma response would be to that.
Yeah.
But what I found really interesting about it is that actually, and I did learn this because I thought in my mind, I thought, well, people pleasing is just things like agreeing with a plan and not voicing what you think about a situation, just sort of going along with it to make things, quote unquote, easier. But it's also things like belittling yourself in order to make someone else feel safe or comfortable or even superior to you. So people that can't take compliments, that's a form of people pleasing. How interesting. I didn't know that. I just thought it was like going along with the plan.
It makes sense.
Yeah. So it's a much broader topic, I feel, than just like the initial example that I just gave of like, oh, I'm just going to people please and go along with that plan because it's easier. I think it's actually much deeper woven into our psyche and our behaviours than we actually think in the modern world.
And the interesting thing about people pleasing is that people pleasing is learnt, so it can be unlearnt, which is an amazing realization if you're a people pleaser. And obviously you can be a people pleaser and it'd be fine, but for a lot of people, there are people pleasers and it manifests in a negative way where you end up, because I've actually read a book and it's really good, it's called The Disease to Please.
Oh, love that.
Harriet Braiker. And she basically says it's a form of neglect disguised as kindness because you're neglecting yourself in order to be kind to someone else. And she also says, which is quite a bold statement, she says that it's a form of manipulation because you're trying to control what other people think of you, which is really interesting, isn't it? Like what an interesting perspective on it, because you think like that it's harmless, but actually it can be quite harmful.
Oh God, definitely, because I think it's harmful for people to people please because you never actually get to understand what you actually want. So a lot of chronic people pleasers, when they're trying not to people please, well, often they do people please because they actually don't know what they want. So the first thing you need to do if you want to stop people pleasing is get to understand yourself and get to know what you do like and don't like, what your boundaries are, because how can you implement them if you don't even know what they are?
Yeah, exactly. So interesting. And like one of the things that people pleasing, you know, you can practice and getting over people pleasing. One of the things that Harriet Braiker talks about, and it's really good, and it's talking about how you can practice low stake no's. So saying, you know, if someone says to you, do you want to come out on Friday night? Like that's a low stake no, saying that, like saying no. And just practicing those no's that actually aren't really tough ones. And then you practice it more and more, like exercising in a muscle, and you start to be better at saying no. And Vicky Owens, who was actually a guest in a previous episode, she talks about this a lot, and this quote, and I hadn't actually seen it before, but it is perfect for people pleasing. And it's no is a full sentence. Which is great. I mean, in real life, you wouldn't just say no, but we like what it's touching on.
Behind it is that you don't actually need to overly justify or over-explain yourself. And actually, Vicky Owens touched on this as well, didn't she? In that it's always a bigger deal in your head. Like your mind will run at a million miles an hour. Like, oh my God, if I say no to that, they're going to think X, Y, Z about me. But actually, that's not the case at all. It's just that that's what you think. And also another thing to remember is just because something feels uncomfortable doesn't mean that it's unsafe. It's just unfamiliar. Because in this book, it talks about people pleasing as a survival mechanism that when you were a child, you used in order to, for example, I mean, there's loads of examples, but for example, if you lived in quite a volatile household, you would people please in order to keep your parents on an even keel. And so you would always be the good girl. Like there's that narrative behind being a good girl, which is why often women are more people pleasy than men. Because from being children, we are taught this narrative
be a good
good girl. And just on what you were saying about low stake no's, another thing to remember if you are a chronic people pleaser is that to get to a point where you just say no is like huge. Like that is the end game, isn't it? To be able to just say no. So that's quite a big step on your quest to stop people pleasing. So actually a good thing to practice is compromise. Just as a baby step. In that don't do fully what they want you to do, but maybe offer a solution that kind of meets you both in the middle. So you're not fully saying yes and people pleasing, but you're not fully saying no either. You're kind of meeting in the middle.
As a middle way. If like you don't want to be super extreme with just like no. A book called Wanting, which is what I talk about a lot, is how to, I think this is the first step before you tackle people pleasing as a topic, which is how to, touching on what you said, how to know what you actually want. And that's really helped me to not be a people pleaser, because I've learned what I actually want and what I find fun and how I want to spend my time, extrinsic of models, which is what they talk about in the book. So I think knowing that has then helped me to then say no, because it's like, well, I don't want to do that. I genuinely don't want to do that.
So it's easy.
Like, but people do mistake boundaries for being mean.
Yeah.
And you're not mean. You just got boundaries. And if it means that someone's going to take that personally and not invite you again, well, they're not the type of person that you want to be spending your time with.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people pleasing as well is like stopping, pausing and saying, right, if I do this, what am I sacrificing for me? Because it might be that you go on a night out to please your friend, but you need a night of self-care, of rest, because you might wake up with a cold sore the next day.
Yeah.
So the sacrifice of going out with your mates, you're riddled with herpes the next day. Like, so you've got to like just take a moment to pause.
Yeah.
It's all like, it sounds easy, but it's actually quite complex, really.
Yeah.
Like, when was the last time that you caught yourself people pleasing? That's a good question.
Well, I didn't people please, but yesterday, but I felt it inside me. It's actually to do with you. How funny.
Oh my God.
So basically yesterday, you know, when you said, oh, I'm in Wilmslow at 2:30, if you want to just come and we can grab a coffee or whatever.
Yeah.
And my form of people pleasing sometimes will come in the form of like, it comes from goodwill in that I want to see you.
Yeah.
So I will ignore what I've actually got on in order to have a nice time.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
yeah.
Like, and be like, oh, well, you know, you're all the way this way.
Yeah.
And obviously you live quite far from me. So in my mind, I'm thinking, well, my first reaction was, no, I can't.
Yeah,
so that's how I know I've come a long way with my people pleasing, because I couldn't. I generally had that a lot of work on and stuff. But as soon as I said no to you
felt rubbish.
My head was like, well, you could, like, if you just squeezed it in, or if you just move this, or you just move that. And then I labelled it, and I'm like, well, that's a bit people pleasy if I do that, actually, because then what I'm doing is sacrificing my own stress level of the day and trying to cram it all in for Camilla.
Yeah.
Which, yeah, it would have been
not worth it.
It would have been. It would have been lovely to go for coffee. Of course it would. Like, and you were all this way, but that would have negatively affected my day.
100%.
And so that's why I was like, no, I'm fine with that decision. But because I have a tendency of that,
anyway.
yeah, of course, yeah. But that's what I mean. In my head, I'm justifying it of, well, I am seeing her tomorrow, so that's okay.
Yeah, good.
Which is interesting that I even have those conversations with myself still. But that's how I know that I am a people pleaser in recovery.
Yeah. I love that. Yeah.
I'm like hearing those conversations to myself in my mind.
Yeah.
Which is interesting. When did you? When I was 5.
I'm like, what? When was the last time? I don't think I can actually, think of a time, because I do things like on my
terms.
Obviously I'd do anything for like friends and stuff like that to make their lives easier, because I feel like the whole point of friendship and relationships are to, you know, make the other person's life easier, but not at the expense of derailing the day.
Yeah.
So I have got quite good at that in recent years. I'm trying to think like with Sam if that's happened.
There's
recently.
One of my coaching clients asked me that very question, actually, because she said, how do I know when I'm people pleasing or if I'm being a good friend?
Or just being nice,
the line?
yeah.
Yeah. And I said to her, well, it's if you do the thing and you feel empowered by that decision and happy and positive, or do you feel disempowered, anxious, nervous? That's how you know.
Yeah.
Because if you are feeling disempowered and anxious and nervous, but you're just giving your friend a bouquet of flowers out of fear, then it's people pleasing. If you're giving them a bouquet of flowers out of love and joy, it's not. It's doing a nice thing. So that's how you know.
And I think that's how I act in terms of like, if someone's having a shit week, I'll send them something.
Yeah, you're really
and
thoughtful.
that's how I show up for them.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's difficult. I don't think I can identify. I've noticed though, just off the back of what you said, people pleasing, an example for you, I think that you were going to people please, but then didn't.
Yeah.
When we were talking about Newcastle and getting there, you were like, I'll pick you up from town.
Yeah.
Like, And I actually thought like she's coming out of her way for that. And luckily you came around to it and you're like, actually it makes more sense for you to get an Uber, which was fine. But I bet that felt a bit shit for you being like, oh, you know, I've said that I'll do that. But really I was thinking anyway, like it's out the way.
Yeah, because I just said yes immediately because to look at the map, it was kind of, I thought, well, we could kind of go that way. But then when I actually looked into it, I was like, oh no, that is out of my way. And it adds on a half an hour to an already,
which was
in the end, 5.5 hour car journey. How long did it take us to get there? So yeah, that's a good example actually.
Really good.
Yeah, well done me.
Yeah, well done. That's 2 instances in the last week, honey, that you've battled with. You are literally
read this book, guys.
Yeah.
It will transform your life.
So that's 2 really good book recommendations.
Yeah.
So Are You Mad at Me by Meg Josephson and then The Disease to Please by Harriet Braiker.
And who wrote Wanting? I've not actually read
Wanting. I can't actually remember who the author is. Soz. I think it's a man though.
Okay.
We'll put that though on the stories maybe of a roundup of some books that
we should make a books highlight.
Yeah, we should.
Put all of our books on there.
I like that. There's been a few nuggets, haven't there, recently?
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah.
So hopefully if you are a chronic people pleaser, we've given you some advice, tips and tricks there to help you combat the devil of people pleasing. If you have enjoyed this episode or think you know someone who is a chronic people pleaser and needs a little bit of help, then please do send them this episode. And if you haven't already, please do rate and review the podcast. It helps us so much to get to more gorgeous people just like you. And we will see you next time.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
See you later.